Sem dúvida. Fui muito feliz jogando futebol.
When you watch football nowadays, magic, is it too tactical maybe nowadays?
The world's finest performer.
He will become in the future one of the greatest of all time. So he was there for every single moment.
Way that I've seen in history that he could transform it in Paris. He transformed it. He went to Barcelona and one of the worst moments. He transformed it. Talent like this in training, in every drill is like, how is this possible? Physically, it's impossible to do certain things. It was.
What football legends really think about Ronaldinho?
Cameroon internationals anti-Madrid gloating at Barca's title celebrations in the new camp last summer. There's the goal.
This is Ronaldinho, a footballer, a showman, a world champion, a Ballon d'Or winner, and perhaps the happiest genius the game has ever seen. Some players are remembered for numbers, some for trophies, some for longevity, but a very small group are remembered for something far more difficult to explain. They are remembered for how they made people feel. Ronaldinho belonged to that group, because when he touched a football, the sport stopped feeling like work. It became art. It became freedom. And even the greatest players in history could only watch and admire.
He done things on a football pitch that no one even contemplated. Had me just like, I was just transfixed every time he played.
For me, Ronaldinho is the most gifted player I have ever seen. Gifted. That word appears again and again whenever football legends speak about him. Not greatest, not most successful, gifted, as if there were abilities given to Ronaldinho that the rest of humanity simply never received. Because there are players who master football, and then there are players who seem to invent it as they go. Ronaldinho belonged to the second category. He played with improvisation, with rhythm, with imagination. Every movement felt spontaneous. Every touch carried joy. Defenders never knew what was coming. The crowd didn't know either. And that was precisely the magic.
Not apart from expressing himself and enjoying, which is no matter who you are, man, that guy, you know what he's on, you know what he's about.
Watching Ronaldinho play football was pure pleasure. Coming from Zidane, those words mean everything. Because geniuses recognize other geniuses. And they recognize something even rarer, freedom. Ronaldinho played without fear. He attempted impossible passes because, in his mind, they were possible. He smiled after mistakes. He laughed during matches. He treated the biggest stadiums on earth like playgrounds. And somehow, that freedom made him unstoppable. Long before the Ballon d'Or, long before Barcelona, long before the standing ovations and Champions League nights, there was Porto Alegre, street football, futsal, music, family, and a boy who learned that the ball was not an object. It was a dance partner, the movements people would later call tricks. He simply called them football, the elasticos, the no-look passes, the impossible first touches, the outrageous chips. To Ronaldinho, creativity wasn't a luxury. It was the entire point. He did in training what other players wouldn't even try in matches. That sentence follows him everywhere. Training sessions became legends of their own. Stories spread about impossible goals. Crossbars being hit repeatedly on command. Skills so absurd that teammates stopped competing and started watching. And perhaps the most incredible part? He made elite footballers feel like fans.
You are going to sell me. The only team I want to move to is Real Madrid. Because I always had a dream of playing for Real Madrid when I was a young kid. I never thought I would leave Manchester United, but if I did...
The player I was most excited to play with was Ronaldinho. Think about that. David Beckham, one of the most famous footballers on the planet. A man who had shared dressing rooms with icons. Yet even he arrived with the excitement of a supporter meeting his hero. Because Ronaldinho possessed something statistics cannot measure. Wonder. He made professionals remember why they fell in love with football.
Real Madrid fans applauding Ronaldinho's goal.
Children copied his celebrations. Teenagers copied his boots. Adults copied his smile. For an entire generation, football wasn't about systems or tactical diagrams. It was about expression. It was about trying something outrageous in the local park because Ronaldinho had done it the night before. He gave people permission to enjoy the game again. And maybe that explains why so many legends speak about him differently. With warmth, with affection, with genuine admiration. Not because he dominated them, but because he reminded them of football's original purpose. Joy.
When arriving in changing room, Ronaldinho, he did exactly the same with Leo.
When I saw
Ronaldinho helped me a lot. He made everything easier for me. The greatest player of a new generation learned from the smiling magician of the old one. And even before the records arrived, before the trophies multiplied, before history crowned new kings, there was Ronaldinho, lighting the path, showing everyone that greatness and happiness could exist together, that football could still be beautiful, that genius could still smile. And when the lights were brightest, when the pressure was greatest, when entire nations watched, Ronaldinho never changed. He kept dancing. He kept creating. He kept playing with the freedom of a child. Because some players chase perfection. Ronaldinho chased joy. And somehow, he found both. Greatness earns admiration, but true greatness earns respect from the people who tried to stop you. The defenders, the rivals, the coaches who spent entire weeks preparing for one player and still failed. Ronaldinho had that effect. He didn't just beat opponents, he enchanted them. And football has very few examples of that, because rivalry usually creates bitterness. Competition creates division. Legends defend their own eras. Fans choose sides. But Ronaldinho seemed to exist above all of it. He was loved by everyone, even in enemy territory.
What a footballer! What a footballer this guy is! And we've been talking all night about Leo Messi and Samuel Eto'o, and I was saying, well, Ronaldinho's been a little bit...
Think about what happened that night. The Santiago Bernabéu, one of football's most demanding stadiums, home of Barcelona's greatest rivals. And yet, after Ronaldinho's second goal, thousands of Madrid supporters stood up and applauded, not because they had accepted defeat, but because they had witnessed something extraordinary, something bigger than club loyalty, pure football.